The reality is, the real story here is not that this case isn't going to fizzle. It's going to blow up on them. The real question is what we talked about before. There's a lot more to what they did that nobody knows about yet.
I know some of it.
A lot more to the obstruction of justice, to the collusion, to the fake dossier.
Oh, I know
to trying to bring Steele back in after he was completely discredited.
And then feed it to Mueller.
Yeah. And Mueller is going to have a lot to answer for.
President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, last night right here on this program describing how Mueller's case is, quote, going to blow up in the special counsel's face. Somebody's been saying that for a little while. The host of CRTV's Levin TV right here Sunday night, 10 Eastern, the #1 show on Sunday night on cable news. It's the great one, Mark Levin. Let me let you pick up from here, but you also been saying things that I've been paying very close attention to. The Constitution of the United States is on the president's side. The president ought not be speaking to the people that are running this witch hunt. Take it from there.
First of all, Robert Mueller is a greater threat to this republic and the Constitution than anything Vladimir Putin did during the campaign. And I'm no fan of Vladimir Putin. He's threatening to take down a president of the United States. Now, let's walk through this quickly. The president is not a witness to any crime. How do we know that? Because we don't know what crime they're even talking about. So he doesn't need to be questioned as a witness. President did not commit a crime. What crime did he commit? So he's not a target. He doesn't need to be questioned about that. According to the Department of Justice, a president can't be indicted. A president cannot be questioned by a subordinate like Mr. Mueller about his prerogatives as president, that is, the firing of a subordinate like Mr. Comey. So what questions exactly does Mr. Mueller have? I'm talking to you, Mr. Mueller. Exactly what questions that you have where you seek to turn this country upside down and disenfranchise the over 60 million people who voted for this president of the United States? You are a plaything of the media. You are a plaything of the Democrats. You're a plaything of people within the Obama administration who sought from day one to take this president down. Now, the president of the United States is not an ordinary citizen. He must protect the Constitution. He has to protect the office of the presidency. He has to protect the president's prerogatives. He has to protect separation of powers. That's what this president is doing against this rogue prosecutor. It is Trump who has the white hat. It is Mueller who has the black hat. And the president's lawyers, should this go to court, are going to have a fantastic opportunity to expose Mr. Mueller, to question Mr. Mueller, to question where does he have his constitutional power under the Appointments Clause, to question him about whether he thinks a president can be indicted even though the Department of Justice says no, to question him to explain why, despite public report about the FBI, the CIA, the FISA report, the dossier, Hillary Clinton's association with Russians, we have Russians everywhere, but not with Trump. They're with Hillary Clinton, they're with Fusion GPS, they're with Mr.
Bruce
Orr, over the Justice Department.
No, this is important. Stay on that. They are everywhere. Russian lies sold to FISA court judges, a fraud committed on the court, not once, Mark, 4 times. Lies spread purposely to the American people. That sounds like the former Soviet Union, Mark Levin.
So the question is, if Mr. Mueller is such a great prosecutor, why is he blind as a bat to all this that's taking place in this country? You want to pursue Russia, Mr. Mueller? I can find you a first-year law student who can show you what to pursue. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen of the court, the president wasn't a witness to a crime. He wasn't surrounded by Russians. The president didn't commit a crime. The president cannot be indicted. So, as I keep saying on this program, Mr. Mueller, you can leave the room and don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. We'll see you in court. And if they go to court, then it is an opportunity for the president's lawyers to expose exactly what's going on here.
What should they do? This is important. Focus on that.
Well, I think what they should do is not only ask the court to explain what authority Mr. Mueller has to do what he's doing, given the ridiculous appointment that he received that is so broad it's preposterous. And if you can indict a sitting president, you better have a damn good reason to want to sit down with him and question him. These questions, if they're to be asked at all, have to be very, very narrow. I wouldn't sit down with him and answer any question. The fact of the matter is there is no obstruction of justice. He wasn't a witness to a crime. He didn't commit a crime. He can't be indicted. Mr. Mueller can't question him about presidential prerogatives. So what the hell is the point of this whole thing other than to set him up for impeachment because the Democrats and the media want to remove a president who was elected by over 60 million people to disenfranchise all of us? What's the point of this other than that?
That's why we call you the Great One. Mark Levin, thanks for being with us. Don't forget, Life, Liberty, Levin, every Sunday night, 10 Eastern, #1 show on cable that night. Don't miss it.